Hi, it's Terry Gaines. I'm going to show you how I used one piece of designer series paper cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4 to make two different cards. A card design that looks like this and a fun fold card design that opens like this. What I did was I used the new Rectangle Stitched Framelits that Stampin' Up has in their 2019 Occasions catalog, and I cut out the center section using one of the framelits, and it worked perfect. Nobody's seeing that section of the designer series paper is missing from that card design. So what I did was I cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock the very same size as the vellum. And any type of designer series paper is going to work perfect like this. But anytime you have a specialty paper, it is a little bit more expensive in your cost, and we definitely want to utilize all of it. So this works perfect. So what I did was I just placed this on the magnetic platform and put the other platform plastic clear plate on top of that, ran that through the Big Shot, and that created the two different pieces I needed for my card design. If you found this video via YouTube, look in the comments section. You'll have a direct link to my blog post that will give you all the dimensions for this project. So once I cut those out, this piece is perfect for this panel on this card, so we'll set that aside. And I'm just going to give you some assembly tips on this card. I'm using the petal pink cardstock, and I'm going to apply adhesive on the back of the white frame, and this will go on the card front. The vellum pops out so much with a white cardstock behind it, so I'm going to place this down first, and I'm watching the two corners in the opposite corners to see how I'm lining this up and try to get my equal spacing before I place that down. To apply the vellum, I'm actually just putting my adhesive right towards the center, and I'm not worrying about it being attached along the edges. It's going to be adhered down really well, and nobody's going to, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to place this down like so and drop that into place. For the top layer, I'm going to give you some tips on how I did that. I used the Stamparatus to do the stamping. It's a two-step stamp, and Stamparatus works perfect for this project. So what I do have here, I already have this in place, is I already stamped this part. This is the greenery part of the two-step stamping. I like to bring my images out away from the hinge, so I have it on this part. So I've already done that part. To do the floral, and when I say that, it's because you could hinge it on this side and bring it down, but I'm too close to that hinge area. I like to bring it over here. So in saying that, I'm going to remove this plate, bring this one into place, and then what I love about the Stamparatus is I can place this down, line up my floral part of the stamp right in that area, right through, you can see through it on the photopolymer, bring the plate down, pick up the stamp, and there's magnets. I actually have some painter's tape wrapped around mine so I can pick that up. You can hold that down, and then with your Stampin' Up ink pad, just tap, tap, tap real lightly. You just want your ink on the surface of the stamp. You don't want ink all the way into the crevices, so just tap, 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 and get a good coverage. Bring this down, put a little bit of pressure, and there you have, oh, look at that. I didn't quite get that spot, so I'm just gonna see if I got enough ink on there. And maybe I just was concentrating on other parts of that area, so I'll just ink that up again. And that's the beauty of the Stamparatus. You can come back and get that all stamped up. So perfect. So what I love also about the Stamparatus, you can make multiples of your cards. Most of us make more than one card for each of our projects. So the next thing I did was I ran this through the folder, and the folder I used was the subtle folder, and just to add some little texture to that cardstock. So I ran that through the Big Shot with the platform and a clear plate, and then I adhered it to the petal pink, and this is where we are with this stage of the project. And close the ink pad. So now we have this beautiful ribbon that coordinates, and the ribbon is in the Occasions catalog. I'm going to wrap that around, and to tie the knot, the ribbon on the right side is doing all the work or moving. It's going over and under the other ribbon, becomes a 12 o'clock position. This one came from the left, it's going back to the left, and then this one is going to go over and under again, and then bring the tails to the table, and that will allow you to get a really nice layover right here. And grab a paper snips and trim that. This variegated ribbon with the white and petal pink is very pretty. It's soft and it works really well for ribbons. So what I did was I put dimensionals on the back of that, and that goes on top of the card. To add this extra white detail, I actually used the framelit that coordinates with the stamp set, and I took a piece of the adhesive, multi-purpose adhesive sheet, peeled off the back, and adhered that to a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and then ran that through the Big Shot to get the outlines of those flowers. Then I took my paper snips, trimmed around each one of those flowers, and then what I could do was peel these off. Oops, we want just the outline, and let's see if I can get that. Just want the outline, and sorry about this. Seems like things go smoothly until you turn the camera on. And there we go. So now that I have this piece, I can lay that right on top of the flower and just see how that flower will pop out. That's what I did for all of 4 of these. Then I added some basic pearls for embellishment. So that was card 1. Card 2 is a fun fold. I've been using this for many different projects. And the fun fold, you have your postcard. You have your Whisper White, that's a 1/4 inch smaller in size. And because this piece is 2 5/8, this width is 2 7/8, that's going to be adhered to that top. Your inside sentiment pieces here, and then adhesive on the back, and that gets attached right to this card. I'm going to skip doing all of that part. And then I wrap the ribbon around, and then the tip on adhering this frame square, my tip to you is put your 2 pieces of dimensionals on this end and then place them right on this part of your card. And the reason is, if you do it like that, peel these backings off, then you place this down, you never have to worry about your adhesive being exposed on this side. So those were some tips, and then I did add the epoxy hearts on here. So again, check my blog post out, createwithterrygaines.com, and find all the dimensions and a downloadable PDF for the instructions, and a direct link to my Stampin' Up! Store to purchase any of the supplies. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed creating this project with me.